My mother once slapped me across the face in public for using profane words in her native language. I was 19 years old. I'm supposed to use profane words. If I had said it in front of her closest friends, she never would have touched me. Not at the moment, anyway. To have her friends see trouble in her paradise? No. She values their opinions more than her own. Whereas me, I couldn't give a shit what you think about me. I'm an ABC, American-born Chinese, and oblivious to the extent that my words had unintentionally offended my Hong Kong mother. She damn near went insane when she found out about my father's affair. She didn't care about the affair as much as she cared about whom else knew about it. What matters most is her face. Face is the single most valuable virtue in the Chinese, beyond wealth, beyond family, beyond health, beyond me. Like I said, I don't give a shit. I wanted to have a mother who was a symbol of strength, like Rosie the Riveter. Strong, supportive, and independent. But over the years, I came to find that mine was more like a paper doll, weak, so easily torn. She became afraid to walk into our house when it was empty. She craved my father's pity and mistook it for love. How many nights had she spent sleeping in the minivan because my father didn't return from work? Did she think that would make him come home? Her codependency became my father's pet peeve. I think he quite enjoyed making her miserable. The way I see it, she's better off without him. The way she sees it, she's better off dead. But who am I to tell her what to do? I'm just a child. Things got better when James entered her life. He moved into her house almost 10 years ago, after my father had left. He helped her start a business, and he also opened up a Chinese opera studio because he's a former opera star back in the 80s. She held parties again, invited the town to come celebrate for no specific reason. Yay! People to cook for! And there was always someone there who needed her. James. I didn't really care for him and his cigarette stench, but I could see the positive changes he made in my mother because she no longer felt unnecessary. James was there to pick up the pieces my father had left behind, at least as a companion. As usual, my mother mistook general gestures for love. My mother obviously wanted more, but unrequited love is a hard burden to admit to. He's too short. She would tell me all the reasons why he wasn't right for her. She liked to pretend that she was the one rejecting him. More than likely, she couldn't accept the veritable truth. If the walls of her facade were to wobble, she'd do everything she could to prevent collapse. That's my Rosie. A couple of days ago, I saw a bulk toothpaste box with a little hole cut out of it that was facing me while I was showering. I mean, why would anyone carve a hole in a toothpaste box? I picked it up and peered into the hole, only to see my own eyes staring right back at me. I wanted to jump out of the shower. My body went numb. My skin grew cold, and my head began to hurt. Episodes of Law and Order Special Victims Unit flashed through my mind. Whose camera was this? How long has it been here? Is it recording? Were there other cameras in here? I had a suspicion, but I didn't know whether or not I should tell my mother. This will leave a scar on her face. I put the camera down on its side, facing the wall, tried to continue with my routine. I was about to leave for work, but I had to know. I opened the other end of the box, found a pair of black men's underwear pushed up against a small camcorder. I removed the camcorder and opened the LCD display, a red dot, signifying to me that it was indeed recording. But when I did a playback, it had recorded nothing. Live streaming, perhaps? All the menu options were in Chinese. At that moment, I knew whom this camera belonged to. My brother suggested I report James to the police. He's quite upset and disappointed. Do all guys turn out to be assholes? My trust in men plummeted to zero. The officer took down my statement and confiscated the camera. You have to tell your mother, the officer insisted. I considered his advice, but if James ends up in jail, the business will end. The music studio will become empty, and my mother's heart will be broken. Her world. What will become of her world? She had been staying with my grandparents these days in order to help with the chores. As I arrived at their house with my brother, she didn't look me in the eye when she spoke. What's wrong, Mom? You look so sad. She must have been exhausted from all the chores. Oh, nothing. James is sick. He's vomiting blood. I felt a surge of secret pleasure. My brother and I glanced at each other with accidental grins. James won't be getting any pity from my brother nor me. Mom, I found a camera in the shower. I think it belongs to James. Her eyes fell further from my face. She couldn't look at me. Yes, he told me. But it's not his fault. Somebody told him the camera works in wet conditions. He was just testing. He forgot to take it out. Just accident. Was she serious? Did she honestly believe this rubbish he had fed her? It was irrational. It was a lie. It was her world. Then why was it in a toothpaste box with a hole cut out of it? Why was he trying to hide it? She ignored the truth, hoping for a misunderstanding. He's very sorry. He didn't know what he's doing. Everything will be okay. Please, forgive him. Did you hear a word I had said? I was stunned, outraged, like a blow to the head from a crowbar. I wanted to slap my mother the way she had slapped me. My heart was propelled by resentment. My hands were restrained by respect. We argued back and forth, back and forth. She asked me for the camera. I gave it to the police. Tell them to go pick it up there. Her face turned red. Her eyes began to water, and her quivering voice started to croak. She wanted me to understand the stressful situation that she was in. She wanted me to forgive him because he had helped her in the past. She wanted me to see that he was still a good man. At that point, I realized she wasn't fighting to maintain her facade. She was giving me up. Is it supposed to happen this way? No! You don't understand, Mom! You do not understand! My anger echoed within her walls, and she refused to let them collapse. I had been violated. And here was my mother protecting the enemy. She couldn't absorb that two rights don't give you a pass to do wrong. How could you possibly excuse him, Mom? How could you? My wounded heart shattered into dust. I wanted to punch the wall until my hands bled with relief. Who is this paper doll standing before me? I don't know her anymore. My brother struggled to find the words to explain why calling police was the right thing to do, while my mother adamantly defended that it was the wrong. I no longer saw her as Mom. All I had left was a brother who stood by my side while my world was on pause. safe from harm was now removing her shield, leaving me exposed and unprotected. That day, I did my best to fight back, and while my mother was stabbing me in the heart over and over and over again, until her daughter died, buried beneath her fantasy world. She ran to James for solace, never bothering to regret nor rescind her actions, as she felt justified in sacrificing me to protect the world that she always knew. Me, I had to become my own Rosie. I had to find my own strength to move on without a mother's unconditional love. The strength of a woman comes from multiple places. It is shaped by what she is given, taken by what she's lost, renewed by what she's gained, and valued by what she's shared.